Firstly, thank you everyone for messaging me yesterday. If you've listened to one of the Divine Feminine messages that I channeled, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for those people who messaged me and emailed me. And I'm so, so grateful for you reaching out and asking how I was. The energies were just a lot. And I'm sure some of you obviously felt it through the channel as well. But we are in this together, and I don't tend to show this level of vulnerability. So for me, it is important that it's not only important for me to do it, but it's also important for us as a collective to share our open space and vulnerability because it's not easy to do in this world. And as I was contemplating, I was going to pull a Divine Feminine card regarding today's initial message. And funnily enough, I decided to click on this video that I've kind of kept on my tabs for a while. I just didn't have a minute to actually watch it until this morning. And as I was preparing for this call, um, it's really funny because we've got messages, information regarding the connection with soulmates, with love. So I'm going to continue to shuffle. And before I actually pull out any cards, there is a very, very interesting message that is via Ram Das, Baba Ram Das. You can visit this message on his channel. He actually has a YouTube channel and he's got some of his old recordings and lectures on there. I know some of you have seen the viral video that I've put on Ram Dass about the twin flame relationship being an example that we shouldn't be clinging or attaching, obsessing over this other person. And it really does encapsulate the next message that I have been asked to channel regarding this current reading. So thank you, angels, guardians, ancestors, and spirit team for allowing me to be a channel for the highest and best good. The Ram Dass oracle message that he basically is helping me channel through to you is that we are taught by society romanticism, and that hasn't always happened in our day and age. Marriage was about convenience, it was about reproduction, it was about unity, so society could function at a specific way. Since then, marriage and unions of couples have become more of a love interest, more of a I don't need you to provide me financial stability or a roof over my head. Yes, I do need you for procreation, but I choose that for myself, and my life isn't dependent on that. Obviously, it depends upon certain class and where you're listening in from. But our culture has definitely shifted from marriage being a necessity to an option. And as we've moved from that, a lot of social media and companies, particularly like the diamond industry, for example, who do you think that the diamond industry targets? It's not women, it's men. And where men had thought that we need to spend 3 times our month's salary on a ring, it's because the diamond industry had advertised that. And through generations, this had been um, followed through time. It has been almost a given that you need to spend at least 3 months' salary on a ring for your future wife. So, if we have a look at all of the organization of how society is manipulating our interpretation of what commitment is, we are also understanding that there is this element of romanticism. Society has now shifted from a necessity to it being romantic. And we're seeing this all over in social media. I wish my man would do this for me, or I wish women could be more like this. And it's very much a one against the other type of energy. But before I go into much about that, what I'm seeing here is Ram Dass had also continued to look at this sense of relationships on romanticism. Like he describes romanticism in a relationship is a temporary period. You can have romanticism within a relationship for a temporary period. Um, because you can't have it when you become more conscious. So he reveals it's more interesting than that, that people um, wanting to keep romanticizing their lives just generally all the time, right? How can we romanticize our holidays or our pleasure, our leisure time? And he describes that it is a part of the culture. It is a part of the culture, but it's also part of the awakening process. That's where awakening starts. It basically shows you the emptiness of that form, and you start going into something deeper. You start to meet another human being in truth. Because the thing is, when you start romanticizing somebody and then it reveals more to you, you start getting deeper to your own level of consciousness and your wholeness, your truth. So you're being shown emptiness. And when you start to meet another individual in their truth, it becomes scary. Truth is scary. Why do you think even adults? I was commenting um, in another conversation just recently that why do adults lie? We teach our children not to lie to us, but then why do adults lie? And lying, it doesn't matter if it's a white lie or a big lie, a lie is a lie. And, Ram Dass explains that truth has sometimes bad breath in the morning. Truth is boring. Truth is mundane. Truth is, they burn the food. Or the truth is all of the stuff, and truth has anger. Truth has all of it. And you have to stay in it and you have to keep working with it and keep opening up to it and deepening it. And every time you trade in a partner or a karmic, for example, you realize that, okay, we've gone through the romanticism. I don't want to go into that depth of truth. Okay, I'm going to move on and start it all again. There's no good or bad here. There is just being in a state of consciousness, how you keep coming back to the same place in every relationship. It goes through the same cycle because it tends to become heavy. If you start then stepping into your truth, it becomes heavy. You don't want to look at it and then you want to move on. That's why, for the majority of people in this twin flame dynamic, it's really difficult to see yourself in your person because they mirror you so much. And that's why separation occurs. And this isn't just a twin flame thing. It could be in every relationship. So if you're seeing this and you're not sure if you're in a twin flame relationship, just take some of these messages as they resonate, leave the rest. When we aren't able to meet ourselves at a vulnerable place, when we're not ready to entrench ourselves in the deeper sense of consciousness and truth, we pull back. We start to judge, we start to push away, we start to move on to the next one. And then we end up having this rush of openness. And then the same thing starts to happen. So a lot of times individuals start saying, well, where am I going to find a continuation of this connection where it doesn't keep repeating a cycle? And it only happens in you. It only happens when you start to take and watch the stuff and go quiet enough within you so you can take on that process and you can start deepening your levels of truth. And it's constantly happening. But when you start coming back to living the truth within yourself, then you start living with the truth in the other person. It seems really scary. It seems really hard. And the other person needs to work with you too. So, say, for example, in India, many marriages are arranged and you don't even see your wife or husband. I mean, in some cultures, they even wear a mask at the wedding, so they don't even know who they're marrying. In southern India, in North Krishna and Radha, they wear masks and they take the mask off and they are there for life, right? There's no divorce. I mean, you don't see divorces in those villages. And if the husband dies, the wife goes to the funeral and lays herself on the pyre, on the burning person, and that's it. That's it for life. But what this is coming back to is understanding your dharma in a relationship. So Ram Dass continues this and says, if you can change it, that you can't change, you can change it. If you can't um, paint it, that if you can't change it in a marriage, you start to work with it. What that whole analogy and conversation that has come from Ram Dass is explaining that we're choosing to work through these difficulties within ourselves, and we're choosing our person to work through those difficulties with. So we can only come to a certain state of consciousness within ourselves, but we are the creator, we are the destroyer, we are everything. And we're seeing that in another person, but sometimes they don't even see that within themselves. So we're seeing this lack and we're seeing the doubts and we're seeing the insecurities in this other person, but they're also seeing that within themselves too. So you're opening up a can of worms, a can of light, even a whole new dimension where sometimes they're not ready for. So sometimes they do move away and think that this is too much, that they want to go back to that romanticism, because that's where the desire, the lust, the material realm lives. That's where the matrix is. And so, what do we need to know about this particular message is that your soul has already recognized your person. There's two cards here that wanted to come out. The Michig Labdron and Ariandi, the diamond-hearted Dakini. I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. So this person that you're connected to isn't the one who sets you free. You set free yourself because you choose the truth. You choose the mundane, that you choose the boring. Like there's a reason why um we create a reality in the now when we're present, because what we're doing in the present is acknowledging the ways that we can be intentional with our actions and move in the direction of truth, of inner work. So when we've dealt with the shadows of our past, when we've dealt with all the healings, when we've understood that within those darkness, we are the light. That is the truth of this matter. We're able to do mundane things with a sense of pride, with a sense of acknowledgement, with a sense of purpose. So whether you're washing the dishes or whether you're making a cup of coffee, are you doing it in the matrix of I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do that? And you're going through the list of things that you need to do per day. That is getting caught up in the matrix. But when you're pausing and you're being very intentional about making a cup of coffee with your conversations, where you are with your physical self, that is creating the next reality, but you're getting to the truth of where you are. So that's when you're able to face your ego. And that's when you have this sense of freedom. Twin flame relationships aren't about a monogamous one-on-one relationship. It's being described in different ways for different people, which is why we're here to say, what does it mean for you? And what ideas have you had through your past experiences, through your upbringing, that has hindered you from uncovering what your truth is? How is this other person, your other soul part, enabling you to be more of you? And that's where you get this soul resonance. That's where you get this inner peace. That's where you get this sense of freedom. So it's not a case of we need to be together in a marriage and commit to one another. It's how can we show up in our whole truth when we are shining our brightest, right? And so Ariandi, the mistress of the labyrinth, is the second card that came out, and it was the my soul knows the way, and the only way is through. So when we do face the darkness of ourselves, when we do face the uncertainty, when we do face this individual who mirrors the insecurities, the doubts, the fears, we're asking them to show us, indirectly or directly, we're seeing them in us and they see us in them. What we're trying to do here is say, what is the darkness within me that is meeting your darkness? What do I need to work on to get to my dharma, to get to my purpose? And what am I seeing the light in me sees and honors the light in you, right? So, what are we seeing right now regarding the connection? Well, we're seeing that instead of looking back in the past and understanding that no relationships have worked out, none of them have worked out thus far. And even this one is providing a path of difficulty, of resistance, of testing us on various things like patience, perseverance. We are now here in this current reality being asked, what do we want regarding our here and now? What do we want in our near future? What are we aligning with so we can come back into this sense of peace and wholeness? I'm going to get a few cards from the energetic card. So we've got the card of transformation, and there is a continuous sense of transformation and evolution happening with this twin flame energy. And the one card that wanted to come through is the inner voice. A lot of times, these twin flame energies, they want to assure you that you're on the right path, that you're doing the right thing, that you're going to come together in union. And it's all very positive and great. And then there's the other side of things that really are, this isn't your person. You are, needing to go to this other realm. This is a karmic. And it's like, how do you drown out all of the noise, maybe even tone down the amount of tarot you're listening to because you're seeking all of the knowledge from outside? You're not listening to your inner voice. And I'm so, so glad transformation card has now come out. I knew I needed to keep shuffling for a reason. We've got inner voice, we've got create space, we've got transformation, and we've got awakening. Some of these cards may be relevant for you. Number 4, number 8, number 1, number 28, number 38, number 19, number 2. If you're seeing any of these numbers, they might resonate with you. But what I'm seeing here is when you start creating space in the emptiness, when you start facing the emptiness, when you start facing the darkness, when you start transforming your inner world, that comes a time where you can actually awakening. You can come into the sense of awakening, you can come into the sense of transformation, and that changes your whole reality. So sometimes it is scary to do things, sometimes it is scary to face certain resistance, but they're all coming up for a very specific reason. So if we take this twin flame dynamic outside and we are in this box, we are cultivating our own reality. What are we romanticizing and what are we needing to unveil when it comes to our truth? That's all that's happening here. What is the truth? And that's where this message is very, very powerful to say that you're here for a very specific reason, whether you're a starseed, a light worker, a soul being, you are here not just to be in a connection, you're here to transform your state of being, your level of consciousness, to come up to a higher level of transformation, because there's something in this world that needs to be accomplished. And until you kind of go through those barriers and hurdles and acknowledge and start building the foundation of your union within, your connection will continue to remain hidden. It will continue to be elusive because you were here by design to come into your higher self. And these messages are being transformed because you need to understand that there is a higher purpose for you. You are the universe. You have come here for a very specific reason. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the High Priestess. The last card that wanted to come out was the Judgment. So we've already had four major arcanas here. Rather than looking back at the past and looking at why this connection is of influence for you, look within yourselves and ask, what is the truth of what I need to see here? What needs to be revealed? Why is this connection important for me to understand what my inner truth means? This is a very, very deep type of message. Some of you are going to resonate with this, and some of you are totally not. And that's fine. If you're still here, please do click the like button because these types of videos, this type of content isn't out there. I don't hear anybody talking about this. I don't understand why we're not talking about this when really this is the foundation of everything. And people end up getting so lost about, will my person contact me? Will we be together in this lifetime? And in the initial stages, that is important. And I've got a various type of audience here, and I'm so appreciative of all of you for liking, subscribing. If you haven't already, please do. And what I'm seeing here is there's not very many people getting to these types of messages. How do we keep doing the inner work? How do we keep changing the world? Because right now, if you're feeling a shift in energy, the world is changing. We are actively changing the energy of the world, and it's affecting us in a very deep way. And we get to shift this. We get to have the responsibility and the accountability to shift it in the most positive way. That's why we are currently here. So if this is something that you've resonated with and you want more things like this, please drop me a comment telling me even just your favorite emoji of what you want. If even if you can't explain in words what this means, for me, this was actually really profound, and this is the type of reading I don't normally do. So I obviously feel it's close to my heart, and maybe there'll be more people who resonate with it too. I'm sending you guys so much love. Bye for now.